The woman ceased her smile and gazed intently at Sun Wukong. After a moment, she said, "I am Zixia." Sun Wukong felt a tremor in his heart, as if a door had been opened. Yet within that door, there was nothing. "Is that so?" he chuckled. Zixia suddenly smiled again. "Yes." Sun Wukong smiled too. Zixia then turned her head towards the horizon, and when she looked back, her expression had become solemn. "Who are you?" "I am Sun Wukong." "Nonsense. You're not." Zixia suddenly became angry, her eyes filled with resentment. "You're not him. Why have you come back? You should never have returned." Sun Wukong, who had fought countless monsters, felt that this woman before him was stranger than any monster he had encountered, leaving him at a loss. "What's wrong with you? Why are you panicking? Look at me," Zixia shouted. When Sun Wukong looked up, she quickly turned her head away. "Fairy," Sun Wukong said impatiently, "I don't care what ailments you have. I just need you to tell me where the Lingshao Palace is." Why go there?" "Don't go. I told you not to go 500 years ago." Zixia lowered her head, murmuring to herself, as if deeply troubled. "Hey!" Sun Wukong called out. "You know, if this were the mortal realm, I would have killed you 200 times over by now. Are fairies that great? I'm just asking for directions, and you act like this. Where do you want to go, where?" She still kept her head down, her body trembling, as if struggling to control something. "The Ling Shao Palace," he shouted into her ear. Zixia still didn't look at Sun Wukong, but pointed towards the distance, and the clouds dispersed, revealing the massive palace. Sun Wukong saw the enormous structure with countless terraces and many exotic beasts flying around, stirring up auspicious clouds. Despite their large size compared to the palace, they looked like dragonflies before a mountain. The clouds around the palace constantly changed, emitting various auspicious lights. "What a fine place. I'd really like to stay there," Sun Wukong thought. So many years have passed," Zixia said, gazing at the clouds below. "Are all women in the heavens like this?" Sun Wukong got up to leave, but then paused. "What are you doing alone at the edge of the sky? Why do you want to know what I'm doing?" Zixia suddenly looked up, staring at Sun Wukong. Sun Wukong turned his head away. "But I really want to know what you're doing," he said, looking at the distant clouds, thinking to himself, "This is ridiculous. Why can't I look at her? Why don't others want to know? But you do," Zixia said, as if expecting some response. "Who are they?" Zixia sighed. "You go. I'm waiting for someone." "Oh." Sun Wukong turned and left, flying into the clouds. Zixia looked out into the vast sea of clouds again, saying, "He will definitely come back, for sure." A loud voice from the Ling Shao Palace commanded, "Sun Wukong, since you are here, why don't you enter the palace to pay your respects?" As soon as Sun Wukong entered the palace, the Jade Emperor couldn't help but feel a bit nervous. "Don't be afraid, stay calm. I've already arranged 100,000 heavenly soldiers and various experts behind the palace. Besides, he doesn't remember anything anymore," said the Taoist master Lao Zi, whispering in his ear. The Jade Emperor regained his spirit and shouted, Sun Wukong, what brings you here? Are you the Jade Emperor?" "Back then, in that dark place, it was you who sent someone to tell me that I had to complete 3 tasks to atone for my sins and achieve enlightenment, right?" "Yes, that's right," the Jade Emperor replied, while glaring at the Taoist master Lao Zi, thinking, "Was it all your idea?" The Taoist master Lao Zi pretended not to see. Sun Wukong continued, "But now, the monk who was to receive the scriptures has been killed. I want to find that bald head's soul, but the underworld says it's not there. So I've come here to ask if he's come for tea." "Sun Wukong," the Taoist master Lao Zi shouted sternly, "Tang was clearly killed by you." "Nonsense, what evidence do you have?" "Witnesses are here. Bring." Bring the witness to the court. A man stepped out from behind a pillar. Sun Wukong looked, and his eyes widened. Sha Wujing, you have guts. Accusing me. What's false about my accusation? I clearly saw you kill the master. Are you not man enough to admit it? Nonsense. Why would I kill him? You conspired with the demoness Schwanger of the Wanling Forest to murder the master. Schwanger? That ugly hag? Ha ha ha, you can think of that. Sha Wujing was sent by me to monitor you, for fear that someone like you, with a wild nature, might relapse. I believe his words, said the Taoist master Lao Zi. You believe? Just because you believe it means I killed the monk? Ha ha ha, that's laughable. That's not all. You also invaded the underworld, injured the king of hell, and annihilated 41,000 ghost soldiers, then quickly infiltrated the dragon palace, killing the dragon king of the East Sea, Ao Guang. Sun Wukong listened, dumbfounded. I've been to all those places, but I didn't do any of those things. Still denying it. Come. Arrest Sun Wukong. The Taoist master Lao Zi commanded. Who dares to arrest me? Sun Wukong brandished his staff and shouted. None of the heavenly generals on the court dared to step forward. Then, a voice rang out. I'll do it. Sha Wujing jumped into the center of the hall. Perfect. I was just thinking of killing you, Sun Wukong said. The two fought fiercely. Sun Wukong had never seen Sha Wujing in action before, nor had he ever taken him seriously. But after exchanging blows today, he found that this man was deeply skilled. However, after about 20 rounds, Sun Wukong dodged Sha Wujing's attack, positioning himself to his right, and swung his staff to strike his back. Sha Wujing, already in the air and losing his balance, hurriedly placed his monk's staff behind him. The golden cudgel struck the staff, bending it and hitting Sha Wujing's back, sending him flying. Sun Wukong was about to follow up with another strike when he felt a sharp pain in his head. This is bad, he exclaimed. The intense pain invaded his mind, causing him to plummet to the ground. Sha Wujing got up, flew back, and kicked Sun Wukong, sending him flying again. Sun Wukong crashed into a giant pillar, causing the hall to shake. The deities around the pillar hurriedly moved away. Sun Wukong, touching the ground, managed to flip and stand, but the intense pain forced him to kneel on one knee.